Hello there, and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
I'm
and today
we are reviewing Game of Thrones.
season s- se- se- 7, episode 1, entitled Dragonstone, which is the home of the Targaryens before everything went south. Um, So it kind of started off with a cool little. Did you see that? I don't know which version you watched, but there's like little flashy things of like kind of tying everything that happened. Like the characters that featured in the first episode, those little flashy bits here and there, pretty much. So you could kind of remember that.
No, first thing I saw was Walder Frey, aka not Walder Frey.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So I mean, in the last episode, the finale, Arya finally made her way to um, the twins, which are the two things over the bridge, um, to kill Walder Frey, who's on her list. So she deals with him. So I guess she must take up his identity, and she's giving a speech, and she's got all the boys there, all the soldiers, and she's saying, "Oh, you guys are great, well done. Drink up, drink up." And it's like, you guys are awesome. It's like, you killed this pregnant woman, you slit a woman's throat. It's like, well done, round of applause. And then all of a sudden they're looking up thinking, oh, aye aye. See, that kind of stuff, it's like, would make me nervous. It's like, I'd never go to it. If I was like in that world and I was like a guy, I just wouldn't get involved in none of these big, oh, have a drink, let's have a party and stuff like that. I just wouldn't do it because it never ends well. So they're all drinking, then all of a sudden they're throwing up bits of lung and stuff like that. And then Arya would, I think it was kind of obvious what was going on because she didn't drink. This is kind of a superfluous point. And then she turns to the girl and is like, yo, you're a girl, you ain't allowed to drink big, yo. Put the glass down. And then she whips off the mask and then she gives the whole whatever and then struts out. A point you brought up was what's with the voice. That she
Mhm.
can mimic his voice. You could tell his voice was kind of off how he normally sounds, so I think they kind of did that on purpose. They made him speak a little funny, so you could kind of tell. But really, it's down to magic.
Okay, look, I'll buy it. Whatever. It was kind of cool. Like I said, thought it was kind of Mission Impossible, but whatever. It was fun. I suppose it's a cool way to start the thing, and
I
I'd
don't know.
rather like she wipe them all out in one episode and have to sit through a season of her taking them all these no marks out anyway. So why not?
It kind of works well for the plot as well, because I mean, when we well, I'll make my point now because I ain't gonna revisit it now. But Arya's probably my most favourite character in the show. I think she's kind of cool. So yeah. So moving on from that, yeah, it kind of worked from a point anyway because I didn't realise how aware people were of what's going on, and so it covered that. A lot of big plot points that happened last season. Now it's like everyone's aware of. Um, I mean, this thing in particular. I mean, you got Cersei. She's getting the map painted so she can think strategy, and she's like, "We've got enemies everywhere. We're gonna need more allies." So the fact that Walder Frey is out and all his boys are out, that screws them over because now nobody holds the twins. I guess. I mean, yeah, it might be easy for Jon Snow to kind of to claim it, or the river folks to claim it, as it were. But really, it's like they're completely optimized with like, look, the army of the dead are coming. We've got to deal with that. So they're not really kind of paying attention to the war. I mean, they bring the point up.
Hmm.
They're like, "Yo, Queen Cersei's like 1,000 miles that way. Forget about it." And their boys, they can't get up here anyway because winter's coming. There ain't no food, and they've pissed everyone off to the point where it's going to be pretty hard of them to get food. So they haven't really got the allies. Um, but yeah, in terms of the point I was making earlier about news spreading, like now Jon Snow knows Cersei's the queen. Um, I think that they know that the
Why Cersei the queen? Is it because all their kids are dead and there's no
yeah,
heir?
yeah, because
Is she
Joffrey was
older than what's his face then? The brother,
yeah,
Jaime.
yeah.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he? Because he was out at the time. He was elsewhere, and I think she just wants it more. I don't think it's really about that. So
Okay,
I
no,
mean,
I know she's more suited to the role. I'm just saying, like, would she be? Is there no one else that would take the throne?
well, there's within that family, no. I mean, apart from Jaime, but Jaime was elsewhere, and I don't
I
think.
didn't think so because that's what I got from watching it. It seems like, although they made a point of showing how dangerous Cersei could be, and they had Sansa talk about how she's, killed everyone's trust and blah blah blah. It did kind of seem like the characters on borrowed time, as if like everything she had is gone, and now she's desperately kind of cling to it.
Yeah, because the last son jumped out of a window in the series finale, and then she kind of just Jaime was elsewhere, kind of clearing up other people's messes, and in that kind of thing, she just took the throne, and then he turns up at the end just as she's getting coronated. So I mean, I don't think he'd go for it anyway. But yeah, they're kind of in a pickle there. They know Daenerys is coming. They got the 3 dragons. They're kind of screwed. You got Samwell. Well, I mean, geez. We'll go to the wall, north of the wall. You got, I thought what was called the Army of the Dead. That was pretty early on, and then you see like zombie giants as well. That was pretty sick. I wasn't expecting that. It says like 3 zombie giants. I mean, most of the plot of this season got leaked anyway, like months and months ago. So I've got an idea of what maybe happens in the finale. But I mean, until I see it, I ain't gonna believe it. So I mean, the zombie giants are pretty sick, and the Army of the Dead are coming. You got Bran and whatever the Reed girl's called. They turn up at the wall, so it's kind of I know I'm going off on a lot of tangents here, but I kind of thought that Arya was gonna. She's like literally so like only a few miles. I mean, whatever the scale in terms of the map is, but it looks she's only like a few miles really south of Winterfell, where Jon and Sansa are. So I kind of thought she was going to go up there and there's going to be the real cool reunion, but she's going south, you know what I mean? She's going to King's Landing to kill the Queen. We bump into the little party. You've got Ed Sheeran there.
What was that?
I think he just wanted a cameo in it. It's like, why not? I mean, they gave it to him. Apparently, Conor McGregor, the UFC fighter, the whole big Floyd Mayweather fight,
Yeah.
and him going on. So I mean, apparently he guest stars in it, or does a little cameo pop up at some point. So I'm waiting for that one. I guess he'll just be a guy, you know what I mean? You had everyone swearing allegiance to Jon. You got Sansa undermined, and that was pretty obvious because in last episode you got everyone like King of the North, and then you got Littlefinger in the corner like eyeing her and her eyeing him back. So it's interesting because I'm going to be annoyed if she betrays Jon. I think she's kind of got the ambition. So I'm kind of half expecting, like, because they had a talk. They had the talk outside, and she was like, "Oh, you're so good at this, at leading, at ruling, or whatever." And then he was giving her looks. I was half expecting him to be like, "Look, this ain't for me. I'm just gonna deal with the White Walkers and get that sorted, and really, I'd just pass it on to you." Because really, in this show, it's all about the female characters. You got Arya doing it big, Arya, whatever you want to call her, doing it big. You got Queen Cersei doing her thing. You've got Daenerys hyping. You got the Greyjoy girl as well. I mean, when that's all resolved, she'll probably be the Queen of the Iron Island. So I was kind of half expecting Jon Snow to be like, "Look, Sansa, you take it." But I'm sitting here thinking, is she? Because like, when she's talking with Littlefinger, she's powering him off, and then Brienne comes up and she's like, "Oh, I know what he wants," and whatever. So I'm sitting there thinking, is she in control here? or is she going to end up getting a little overwhelmed and end up betraying him? In which case, I could see a thing of Jon Snow being like, "Look, why'd you stab me in the back for? Yeah, ruling ain't for me. As soon as kind of everything's calmed down, I would have given you the Queen of the North or whatever statue you'd call it. I would have given you leadership because I mean you're true Stark. I'm Targaryen. He doesn't know it yet. No one really knows it yet, but I guess he'll find out anyway soon enough."
But isn't he like a Stark anyway, though? He might not be Ned Stark's kid, but isn't his mum like Ned's sister, or is that what I heard?
Yeah.
He's a Stark, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess so, but I don't really think ruling's for him because I mean he was pretty much when he was Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. I mean that was probably more suited for him because it was beef. But I think when it kind of all calms down and is like King of the North and there's no war, there's nothing going on, and he's just sitting around, I don't think
it might not be for him, but that might be like why I think he'd probably be better for it. Like when you look at like Westeros and where the world is, like it's a shitty place. I know Game of Thrones isn't a show that's going to have some sort of really super happy ending, but surely if the world's to move on, you've got to have some better people in charge who can make different decisions, if not better. So maybe he's better off being the king than Sandor, who's just going to be like Cersei and be a cold-hearted bitch again.
Yeah, well, really, in my head, you got Daenerys coming over. She'd probably be okay. I mean, yeah, she's kind of naive in the sense she wanted to end all slavery in Essos, and she had a lot of problems over there. But really, the throne's kind of rightfully hers. But she kind of got parred off over to the other thing, and she's been building up her army since she's been able to and stuff like that. So she's industrious. But really, if you look at, she was kind of exiled off or whatever under threat of being killed because all the Targaryens were getting killed, so she never actually had a chance to rule, so we don't really know or anything like that. But I wouldn't mind if she was queen or whatever to give it a go. You've got Robert Baratheon's bastard who's going to pop up at some point during the season, so technically he's like, in terms of a lineage, he's the closest blood thing to be king, but he's a bastard, so I don't know whether that'll really matter and stuff like that, because they tried to kill him, then he vanished, and then apparently he comes back this season, so really the throne's rightfully his in terms of that thing, but obviously the Lannisters have scammed him out of it. So yeah, I wouldn't mind Daenerys being queen. You had her come back at the end and arrive at Dragonstone, and she's like, let's get this work going.
I'm not sure anyone really will get the Iron Throne in the end.
No. Really, I'm kind of, in terms of, if we go back to Jaime and Cersei, in terms of him, I kind of want to know what he's thinking, because I'm thinking, yeah, he's got allegiance to Cersei and stuff like that, and is super in love with her, like, ancestral and stuff like that, but, like, when she brought up about Tyrion being like hand of the queen and stuff like that, and last time we kind of heard his opinion on Tyrion is like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him because he killed our father and stuff like that. And really, like, Tyrion doesn't have justification for that, because he did kill him, and yeah, his dad like kind of mugged him off and stuff like that, but whatever. So in terms of justification, but when she was like mugging him off and stuff like that, it's like I was expecting Jaime to say something. It's like I want to know what he's thinking, because really no one really knows. Yeah, he's in with Cersei and stuff like that, but he's shown to be like, that's not his thing. He's like a kind of nice guy now. He's mellowed a bit, so it's like, really, I want to know what is. He doesn't talk enough about himself in the sense of would he end up being like, look, Cersei, like, allow it, you know what I mean, and stuff like that.
I imagine him that you might get that if he's in scenes with other characters. It's kind of problematic to do that with him being with Cersei. You can't tell her what he's thinking.
Because I'm expecting him to kind of drift away a bit. When he bumps into Brienne of Tarth again, he kind of had a kind of friendship with her and stuff like that. Yeah, when he's with kind of other characters he's been with elsewhere, whether it would kind of mellow a bit, but really I can see him kind of turning on her, which would work out best in terms of kind of their reunion with Tyrion. It's like she's just gonna run her mouth because that's how she is. But I'm interested in what his thoughts are. We go to Old Town, as it were. I don't know what the actual place is, but the Maester place, and you got Sam cleaning up the crap and stuff like that. You remember that, and it has the kind of
Yeah, but Jim
cyclical.
Broadbent popped up.
What?
Jim Broadbent was in it, right?
Oh yeah. And is kind of is. I'm kind of intrigued whether he wants to be there or whether he kind of is getting the information. Because there were points where I was expecting him to turn around and leave, but I guess not. So he's kind of working.
Well, isn't that what they said? Like he got some information and said Jon Snow needs it, so I assume that's where he's going to go.
Yeah, I think he's sending it in Raven and stuff like that.
Sure, but I mean, eventually, surely that's where he's got to end up.
Yeah, I think he's kind of properly into being the Maester, but they're not like he's come off like he wants to do it. But now I'm thinking, is he kind of just doing it, or is he kind of getting the information but doing his thing? Is like being helpful there. I guess they'll be reunited at some point. So yeah, he's cleaning out the chamber pots, the diarrhea and stuff like that, doing that over and over again, like weighing the livers and stuff like that with Jim Broadbent. I forgot he was going to be in it. He was kind of a good character. I kind of liked him. And I like their kind of, because they're probably going to have a dynamic like Sam had with Aegon back on the Night's Watch and stuff like that. They're kind of buddies. So yeah, they've got their thing going on. I was kind of expecting a big stout reunion, as I said earlier, with the whole Warg guy, Bran. I mean, he's at the wall, so I'm expecting him to get reunited at Winterfell. Obviously, Arya's going to King's Landing. You had that scene. I was expecting her to kill all them guys and stuff like that, because I think they're members of the Lannister army, but they kind of don't really care that much. They're kind of whatever, they're going about the place to scout, I think, and stuff like that, because I was figuring out who they are, but I guess with the whole red thing they must be kind of Lannister guys, kind of just soldiers who are just going to go do stuff. So
but they were saying like they want to get home, don't they? So clearly they're not particularly loyal.
Yeah. So yeah, she's doing her thing, so she's going the opposite way. Well, also at kind of the Maester place as well, we see Jorah, Ian Glenn. You'll probably know him as him, and like he was bumming off Daenerys. You must have seen that watching the early series. Last series he got touched by like old Valyrian like people. Like think of them like the Aztecs, but they're kind of like an old civilization, but like they're kind of stone people now. They got this disease, and he got touched by one of them, and he had like the little grayscale thing there. It's what Stannis' daughter had on her face and stuff like that before she got burnt to death. But now, like, because I was expecting to see like a character that we thought were dead pop up, because when he was walking past the cells and stuff like that, I was thinking, oh, is this some prison thing? I was expecting someone to kind of pop their head out, and we'd see, and it turns out to be Jorah Mormont. He sticks his hand out and it's all like grey scaled up and all scabby and messy and stuff like that. So last we saw him, she sent him off. They kind of made their peace, and she sent him off to get a cure for the grayscale. I guess he's ended up there, and they've kind of locked him up in a cell to keep him away because he's all scuzzy. So I guess he's kind of stuck there until they find a cure. But really, I wonder what his face looks like, because we see his arm. His face looks kind of intact from the shadow. So I wonder what that's going to be. I can't figure he's just going to be left.
Is it kind of like some mystic version of like leprosy or something then?
Yeah. Except that they kind of, it's like, yeah, their skin's like scabby, but it's like stone. Then eventually they turn into a, like, I guess like a stone person, and they're like just make noise. I guess I don't think they can speak, because from like accounts, because they talk about it in previous seasons, and someone was like, oh yeah, my cousin had it or something like that, and like they kind of all like scaly skin, and they couldn't talk, and they're just like screaming, begging for death, that kind of thing. So I mean his whole arm's gone. I don't know the rest of the state of him, but I guess I can't imagine him just being stuck in that cell for ages, because he asked about Daenerys and Sam's like, oh, she ain't landed yet. He finds out there's a mountain of dragonglass under Dragonstone, so that's obviously, that information is going to get back to Jon Snow, and he's going to end up going there where he's going to meet Daenerys, who's his cousin, but they don't know yet, and I don't think he's going to find out, because from stuff I've seen that was leaked, but I'm not going to talk about. I guess is not going to know for a while that they're related.
Oh, sure, you can't give it away, can you?
What?
So that's hard to show. No, not you. I mean the show. They're not just going to give that away now.
No. So yeah, you've also got the Greyjoy brother. I don't know what his name is, but the kind of the slick guy, I'm gonna call him. So yeah, he's sailed across. He's got all his 1,000 ships built. I don't know what the kind of... See, it appears like the kind of time lapse between everything else has been like a couple days or whatever, but the time lapse is like, how long's Arya been posing as Walder Frey or whatever, but really kind of it's like, how quickly can you build 1,000 ships? I mean, those ships are all suited and booted and sailing across the sea in the space of like a week or whatever, so I guess there must have been some sort of time lapse, but in that case it's like, can you really imagine how you start posing as Walder Frey for like months? So he's sailed across, he's landing at King's Landing. Cersei gives the impression that she's going on about a king and stuff like that, so whether there's going to be a kind of thing between her and him. He rolls up and is like, oh yeah, let's be allies, and she's like, yo, you're whack, you're a traitor, you kill the people you align yourselves with. And then there's like, look, I'll convince you, I'm going to get a gift, a priceless gift or whatever, and then he disappears off. So I was guessing, like, I don't know, someone's head. That's what I was thinking, that he's going to go and kill someone. The question is who, and then bring the head to him. So I'm sitting there wondering who that's going to be, and where he's kind of going to go from there.
I don't know, if he doesn't kill someone, I imagine he's probably going to get hold of one of the Starks or something. That's all she really wants, isn't it?
I think she just wants to rule now. I guess she wants to deal with Tyrion. It's interesting because, like, I guess she wants to deal with Tyrion and stuff like that. It's like she's got everyone closing in on him. So I know, maybe he's going to make a deal with someone and sort her out in terms of food and stuff like that so they can march north. But really, she's kind of screwed. Like,
how does the marriage thing work? Like, does it work like it would over here? In, like, i.e., like, if we got a queen now, and we've got Prince Albert, but he can't be king. If those two got married, does this dude become king?
Yeah, I guess so.
But is she still like the ruling monarch?
Oh, she would be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of stuff's a little hokey, her being a queen and stuff like that. But I mean, they're like they're all about the women characters in this show. But I mean, she's the kind of personality that she will wear the trousers, if you know what I mean. So I don't really know how those rules go and stuff like that.
Did I say Prince Albert? Is that right?
Philip, innit?
Philip, there we go. Who's Prince Albert?
I think that's something related to genitalia. So yeah, and then you got Daenerys landing at the end. There was a lot of threads, as it were, which is kind of how the first episode goes, unless it's kind of on a cliffhanger. But I mean, last season kind of ended like as it ended, so everything now is, I guess, building, and it's going to be linear to something like that. So yeah, I guess Daenerys is going to be sorting herself out and starting taking over stuff. I guess Jon Snow's going to find out about the Dragonstone and then cut a deal with Daenerys. I wonder what their interaction's going to be like. So I guess they'll cut a deal. They'll be like, look, we've got a problem elsewhere. Because as I said with the leak stuff, which I'm not going to mention unless people have read it, I can only remember bits and pieces of how it's going to go. But ultimately, who really knows if that was authentic? But it sounded pretty pretty good. So I guess Arya's going to King's Landing. Whether she's going to kill Cersei or not, whether she's going to end up getting captured by the thing, because how's this assassination thing going to get down? I can't imagine her killing Cersei quite this early on. So yeah, it's just literally going to be the threat of the it's going to be Daenerys taking over stuff, heading for King's Landing, and the walkers coming down. I'm trying to think what characters we didn't see this episode that were also doing stuff. I mean, the Tyrells, obviously their family got wiped out except for the old lady, Diana Rigg. So I don't know what she's... also the Sand Snakes, that lot from Dawn, what they're doing, because I know they're kind of angry, so whatever it is they do. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
What was with those guys burying the bodies, or whatever that was?
Oh, that was a big bit we missed, yeah. So ages ago, like the Hound and Arya, the guy with the burnt face and always cursing, and little girl Arya, he bumps into her when he's working for the Lannisters, kind of, and then he gets her, and then they travel around together for a while because he's going to take her off into off to the Vale, and like, look, this is your cousin, this is your niece or whatever, give me fat cash, he's kind of doing that like freelance, and I guess he broke his allegiance to the Lannisters and was just going around kind of doing mercenary work. And across the thing, they came to this farm, and they go there, and the people, the child, the girl and the dad are kind of like let him in, and they like feed him and stuff like that. And then he makes reference, he ends up jacking all their silver, and she was like, oh, what'd you do that for? And he was like, when winter comes, they're gonna die anyway, and like dead people don't need silver. So obviously he's super mellowed out now he's kind of rolling with them people. Yeah, he's still like angry and stuff like that, but you could kind of tell he like turns up at the farmhouse, is like, I don't want to go in there and stuff like that, because I guess he kind of knows. And it turns out that him jacking their silver, they probably would have died anyway, but the event of him taking their silver, I guess they couldn't afford to feed themselves, and they ended up dying. So I guess that kind of affected him, and he was feeling guilty, so he ended up burying their bodies. Then you had the fire thing, like he thought he was all hokey and stuff like that, this Lord of Light, and then he looks into the fire and he actually sees something. So it's like, oh, that was interesting as well. So he sees the wall north, the army of the dead marching. I can't remember what else he saw, but that's like the big thing. So I'm wondering what they're doing, because I think they're pretty far north now. So I think they've moved from the south north. The question is, where are they kind of going? So yeah, whatever's going on there, what their purpose is, because I kind of wasn't clear on I think they just travel round. So whatever, I think they've got to bump into people eventually, you know what I mean? But from the way it's looking, they're kind of heading north, so I guess they must bump into Jon Snow. The thing with that is obviously Brienne of Tarth's there, and they fought each other the last time and I guess she must have thought she killed him. So he's kind of, I guess he's like a good guy now, so yeah, she must have thought she killed him and whatever. So yeah, let's talk numbers. That's literally covered everything.
Yeah, I like it, I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, it wasn't a big, stuff's popping off and stuff like that. It was just, laying out the strands. So, clearly, it's not like, there's dragonglass at Dragonstone. I don't think Jon Snow's going to go there and he's going to bump into no one, you know what I mean? So it's kind of spreading where everyone's kind of going now. Setting up the whole season, I guess. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. There were funny bits as well when Sam's cleaning up the chamber pot and he's heaving, and then that old guy's in bed and I guess he diarrheas and then he's like grinning to himself and stuff like that. There were cool little tidbits in there. Again with Jorah Mormont, I guess I didn't really expect him to be there, so I guess they're kind of updating him on that. So yeah, I'll give it a 9.
Cool.
It's like a good kind of normal episode, you know what I mean? There's not really a bad episode of Game of Thrones, so yeah, I thought it was cool. The start was kind of hype and stuff like that, so yeah, good storytelling. I'm Sam,
On that.
and we'll see you next week. Game of Thrones, Superhero Hub.